going on YouTube? Today I'm going to do as many push-ups as I can until my camera dies. And to be honest, my camera has a battery like around an hour and a half, so that's probably how long the video is going to be. And at the end, when it cut off, that's probably when I'm going to end the video. I'm probably not going to give an outro. But yeah, let's get straight to it, honestly. Nothing else to talk about. Alright, so I'm ready to go. Countdown.
So while we're doing the push-ups,
Alright, so I'm ready to go. Countdown. 3, 2, 1, go.
Push-ups have been a fitness test for over 100 years, including in military training, because they test upper body strength, endurance, and mental toughness. So I was about to be tested by history. So I'm going to tell a story about, the first time I started doing push-ups. Well, I'm doing push-ups. So the first time when I got on the floor, I thought I was very confident. I put my hands down, feet back, straight legs, because I didn't know knees were an option yet. I locked my arms, looked forward, and immediately felt like I had done something illegal. My body was like, why are we shaped like this?
It's about to be a long day.
My wrist hurt. My shoulders felt suspicious. My core had a couple of questions. But I was already down there, and my pride told me to assume the position. So I bent my arms, and shockingly, I went down, pushed up, and I froze. I stared at the floor, and I was like, damn, I did it. So I was like, oh, okay, we could do some push-ups. So another fun fact is when your nervous system doesn't immediately register fatigue, for the first few reps, your muscles rely on stored ATP energy. And ATP energy basically means emergency fuel. Also meaning your body gave you like a first trial kind of thing. So when I took the second push-up, by the way, I was very skinnier than I already am.
73.
So when I took the second push-up, still happened. I was feeling pretty confident. I was feeling pretty bold. And I started thinking, like, I get why people do these. This might be my thing. I'm probably a natural. So after, a couple more push-ups, I began, trembling. And just a little vibration, like my arms were nervous. My chest felt a little heavier. My elbows slowed down. And I pushed her because I didn't know what listening to your body meant yet.
39.
So another fun fact is when your muscles fatigue, smaller motor units fall first, forcing larger ones to compensate, which is why shaking happens. Your muscles are literally panicking. That's basically what happens. So the reality check. So this is where things kind of changed. I went down, came back up, felt like I was trying to push the earth away from me. And my arms bent halfway and just stopped. I hovered there, not up, not down, just suspended by my ego. I thought, why isn't gravity helping me anymore? So my face got hot. I started breathing aggressively, so I slowed down. When I was going down, I just accepted the fall. I just fell. My chest hit the floor, and it was comfortable, I was resting for a little bit. And I was just sitting there like, damn, this is a lot harder than I thought. Another fun fact is during hard effort, your body redirects blood to working muscles and away from the non-essential systems, including digestion and sometimes your brain. So basically your blood goes to what's working and takes away from what doesn't need it right now. So, I pushed up again.
I did 100.
I pushed harder, still nothing. My arms took and shook like an old elevator. At this point, my body wasn't tired, it was confused.
That's where I think it
rolled
goes
onto
downhill.
my back and started yelling at the ceiling. Just started breathing like I had escaped something. And I was lying there like, damn, I just did 3 push-ups. I did one like emotional push-up, which one they basically didn't even count. And then that's it. So that's when it hit me. I was like, push-ups weren't just an exercise. They're a measurement of, your mental strength
104.
and truth. So this is the 5th fun fact. Studies show beginners often overestimate their strength by 30 to 50% when starting body weight exercises.
106.
So basically, I was just a statistic, I got up off the floor slower than I went down.
106.
My arms felt weird, like they belonged to something else. I didn't say I quit. I just said I'll try tomorrow,
109.
So I was just basically quitting politely.
110.
But the first day taught me something important. Push-ups don't care who you are. They don't care what you think you can do. They'll introduce you to yourself immediately. And that's how my push-up journey began. On the floor, staring at the ceiling, breathing like I fought gravity and lost. That's basically how I started, and I was like, wow. Okay. So, I was very humbled lying on the floor. Like I just had lost an argument with gravity. And I didn't stand up immediately. Standing up would have meant accepting what just happened.
114.
Instead, I stayed on the ground and did what all beginners do after their first workout. So, you know, I was just, be like, I wasn't even trying that hard. I was like, my form's probably off. The floor felt, you know, floor wasn't the floor today. I was okay.
Let's see if I can do it.
So eventually I stood up.
114.
And that's when I discovered my arms no longer swung naturally. They just kind of hung there.
Come on,
I was like walking around stiff like some sort of Roblox character or something. You know, every moment felt a little delayed, like my body was just buffering. I tried to shake my arms out, big mistake. My triceps responded by cramping slightly.
120. Let's go 130.
Kind of telling me, you know, hey, don't do that again.
Let's go 130.
So I come to realize another fun fact is delayed muscle soreness doesn't kick in immediately. It usually kicks in after 24 to 72 hours later, especially if you're a beginner. So basically saying like, hey, you know, your suffering hasn't loaded yet. You kind of got to wait maybe a day or two or three. So the next morning I woke up feeling normal and I thought, wow, okay, that's not that bad at all. That was a lie.
136.
I went to brush my teeth and lifted my arm, and my shoulder said, yeah, we're not doing that. I froze mid-motion like a malfunctioning animatronic or something. I tried the other arm. Same response, you know. At this point I realized, hey, you know, I could not raise my arms above like my chest. You know. So when I was putting on a shirt, you know, it became like a full event, you know. And that's something that's it kind of struck me first, you know. I lifted the shirt over my head and it got stuck halfway. And I got tangled because my arms and my chest wasn't feeling like I didn't want to do anything that day. So for a moment I genuinely thought, you know, this is how they find me. I had to slowly wiggle one arm at a time, like I was accepting,
142.
or like I was escaping a net. You know,
9 minutes right now, 30. Man, 142.
Another fun fact, you know, while we're here, push-ups heavily engage the triceps brachii, which assist in elbow extension and shoulder stability. Beginners often underestimate how involved they are. That's why simple tasks like Olympic lift the next day. That's why they feel like that.
10 minutes. So I'm averaging around.
So later that day, you know, someone asked me if I was okay. You know, I was a little sore. You know, my brother asked me.
I already know it's going to slow down now.
And I was like, yeah. So when I tried to lean on the table, my arms buckled. So I was just, you know, I was just lying. So that evening I thought, if I could do push-ups again, it would probably loosen me up. So this thought, you know, has injured millions of people. So when I got back on the floor, this time my body immediately recognized the situation. My arms were like, oh, you again? So I lowered myself into position, and before I even bent my elbows, my muscles started shaking preemptively. And I tried to go down. I made it approximately 1 inch. That's when my body shut down, and I was like, nope, not today.
160.
And this is why, a fun fact, when muscles are damaged, your nervous system limits force production as a protection mechanism. So your body literally says, no, we're not going to do this. We're going to, you know, we're going to put a working order on fixing your body, and you're going to wait. So this is where something interesting happened. You know, for the first time I understood that push-ups weren't about arms. They were about consistency, patience, and accepting that day one, you're not that guy. And I officially entered the beginner phase, you know. No music montage, no transformation, just soreness and humility. The next time I tried, I learned another lesson. Counting push-ups too early is dangerous. I did one and thought, okay, 1. I did another, and I was like, okay, 2. So halfway through the third, my brain said, we could stop at 2, and it wouldn't be embarrassing. That's when I learned that beginners don't quit because they're weak. They quit because their brain starts negotiating early.
170.
Another fun fact is mental fatigue often precedes physical failure. So studies show perceived exhaustion can occur before actual muscle failure. So your brain wants to be comfortable and your muscles want survival, you know? So your brain's like, hey, you know, let's chill out. And your muscles can actually go, and your muscles want survival, so they want to go a little further, you know? So one day I did something unbelievable, you know? I did 5 push-ups. Not clean. I didn't do them fast either. But I did them. I stood up afterwards like I had just completed the mission. I didn't tell anyone, but I wanted to. That's when I developed respect for people who can do push-ups. You know, when someone says, yeah, I did 50 push-ups.
Oh, man.
Damn.
Oh.
I don't even question it.
At that point,
And I understand their suffering.
Okay. One
You know,
step
the
at a
first
time.
push-up journey taught me something.
One step at a time. One step.
Everyone remembers their first push-up because it's not about
Going
strength.
down feels like
It's
hell.
about discovering how much work you haven't done yet. Push-ups don't care about excuses. They don't care about potential. They only count what actually touches the floor
Ugh.
and comes back up.
So 171.
And my first push up, it didn't make me strong, but introduced me to the grind. And honestly,
171.
that introduction hurt more than the push up itself.
171.
That's hilarious, right?
171.
What do y'all think about that? I also think push-ups are actually really, really good for you. They're actually one of the best exercises on earth. Most people think push-ups are an arm exercise,
177.
you know, but the real push-up actually uses chest, triceps, shoulders, core, lower back, glutes, and even your legs. So your body isn't moving one part, it's moving itself. That's why they feel so hard at first. Your weakest link gets exposed immediately. Push-ups don't let you hide.
180.
They teach your body to work as a team.
180.
Push-ups coordinate muscles. Your core has to stay tight so your hips don't sag.
My wrists.
Your shoulders stabilize. Your arms push. Your chest controls the descend down. If one part slacks off, the whole rep falls apart. That's not just fitness. That's life skills.
Your wrist strength has to be.
They built real, usable strength. Push-ups train
almost like
relative strength. How
the
strong
push-ups aren't
you are
wrong,
for
but it's
your
just-
body weight. That's the strength that you're used to.
My wrist being
Push-ups
able to
off the
hold it up.
ground. Catch yourself when you
Hold up all
trip.
that pressure the
You're
entire
carrying
time.
things that's wrecking your back. Controlling your body, not just move weights. You're not lifting metal, you're lifting yourself. They also improve your posture. Push-ups strengthen your chest and the muscles that stabilize your shoulders. That means you have less rounded shoulders, a better upper back balance, more upright posture. You stop collapsing forward like your phone weighs 40 pounds. And your posture affects everything. It affects your breathing, your confidence, and even how tired you are feeling during the day.
Let's do 10.
Standing taller isn't cosmetic, it's functional. They're a core exercise in disguise. If your core isn't engaged during a push-up, you'll feel it instantly. Your hips start to sag, your lower back complains, your forearm falls apart. That's because push-ups are basically a moving plank. They train your core to stay tight while your arms move, which is exactly how your body works in real life. Static abs look cool, but dynamic core strength actually helps you. Slow, controlled push-ups strengthen your shoulder stabilizers, improve elbow durability, and increase your wrist tolerance over time. You see how I'm complaining about how my wrist hurts the whole time.
190. Let's go.
So if I just continue it, it'll improve my joints and how to handle load safely. That's why athletes, soldiers, and physical therapists all come back to them. They scale with you forever. This is part that people underestimate. Push-ups never get too easy. You just level them up, you know? Knees, standard to decline to explosive to one arm progression. That's why you see these people starting doing push-ups with one arm, you know? It's the same movement, just a new challenge. That means you don't outgrow them. They grow with you. Push-ups teach you how to push through discomfort, how to breathe under stress, how to keep form when tired. That moment when your arms shake and your brain says stop, that's mental training. You learn the difference between this is uncomfortable, this is unsafe. That skill carries everywhere. They're always available. So you don't need to go to a gym, you don't need equipment. So there's not much excuses, honestly. As long as you're at home, you're outside, between meetings, during breaks. Push-ups win because they're always there. The real benefit is when you start to struggle with 1 to 3 reps. Later you might do 10, then 20, then more. Nothing else changed. Same body, same floor, same gravity.
2 more.
The progression rewires your brain. You stop saying I can't, you start saying I can't yet. So sooner or later you'll get there with enough consistency.
Go. 200 with 19 minutes and 30 seconds. So I didn't realize how hard it was and the other factors on doing push-ups, like having good wrist strength for a long period of time, because holding your arms out like that puts a lot of pressure on your wrist when you're doing push-ups, and that has to be conditioned. I'm clearly not that guy who's conditioned yet, but I did as much as I could. I could have done more. My wrist was giving out on me, so I'm going to take a break so I don't get injured. I'll come back and I'll do as much as I can. But that concludes the video. I thought I wasn't going to do an outro, but I am. See y'all. Take care.